Hey guys, welcome back to the Detailing Space. Hope you've all had a good Christmas and a good New Year. This is the first video of 2024 and this is coming about because I posted an image on Instagram just a few days ago of all of these pads in a massive stack, and the most common question I was getting is, what is my favourite pad and what is my go-to pad? And in the past I would have kind of avoided that. Like a lot of pro detailers, the answer I would have given would have been, well, it depends on the defects you're trying to remove, depends on the condition of the car's paintwork. What car is it? What kind of paint is it? Is it a really hard paint or is it a really soft paint? And those do matter. However, those who have been watching for some time, you might remember a couple of years ago I went down and met Kelly Harris down at Lake Country Manufacturing. You may remember him as KDS. The detailing legend that is Kelly Harris. And there's all these pads and different polish combos and different machines these days. You're always mixing up what you're using. I mean, the only constant in your particular garage or in your unit, if you're a pro detailer, is probably going to be the machine, because you're not going to swap machine on every single job. So with that logic in mind, it's also what I've been doing since going down to Kelly's. I've pretty much been using the same pad or pads. It's 3 different pads I've got. So here we've got a wide selection. We've got sort of knitted wool, we've got foam. This is a waxing pad for those interested. We've got these kind. I will go through all of these pads in a future video. If you want to see that, let me know in the comments below. This is the HDO with the CCS technology. So you've got little sort of dimples here to hold polished product. They have sort of your regular flat foam without the CCS. I mean, if you're going to buy one of these, I would get it with the CCS technology. That just holds little blobs of polished compound while you're working. Anyway, so there are a whole different bunch of pads, all different technologies. Some are SDO, which is standard duty orbital, and some are heavy duty. We've got microfiber here, we've got wool, we've got lamb's wool. We have got a whole selection. Now, as I say, the 3 pads that I use is the first one. If I've just got a single stage to do, I'm aiming for 75% correction. I've probably got the car just for a single day. I'm using this orange pad. This is a HDO with the CCS technology. Now this is great. I can use a medium polish, maybe a finishing polish with this. Well, I can definitely use a finishing polish with this. But I'll probably use like a medium polish, not a heavy cutting. And I'll knock down a lot of the swirl marks, and you can refinish to a decent level with this as well. So that is my single stage pad, and that is the pad that I'm using. As I say, if I've got the car just for one day, if I'm doing some of these product review videos, that's the pad I'm going for. And the thinking is you can adjust your speed. So the other combination I use then, and just a bit of backstory for me, I've always been a foam user. I've used a lot of the 3M pads. I've used Lake Country in the past, and then various other pads, Menzerner pads, I believe, Maguire's. I've used a lot of foam pads in the past. I have dabbled with some wool many moons ago, probably about 10-15 years ago. And the ones that have always scared me, or yeah, I've been a bit hesitant to try, was the microfiber pads, thinking, well, microfiber, that's going to cause a hell of a lot of damage. Now this is where Kelly's analogy came in with the sports car, is you don't need to be using the entire ability of these microfiber pads the entire time. So my go-to pad, quick answer, is the blue microfiber. This is the more aggressive one. There's this one and there's an orange one just over there. There's also a black one as well, the finishing microfiber, which in my head, I've not used that yet. It seems like using microfiber to finish doesn't feel right to me. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying there's no point to it. It just doesn't feel right to me. So my go-to pad is this microfiber pad here. I go through a lot of these. If you ever check the videos, you'll see I'll have a stack of these in use. Now, anyway, getting back to it. So the reason I use this one is you can control the cutting level with the polishing compound that you're using. So you can go for a heavy cut polish or a medium cut polish, and also the speed of the polisher as well. And this is where one of the things I learned from Kelly is, in the past, what I would have done is I would have just found the pad. I'd have been setting my, whatever machine I was using at the time, 90% of the time it was a rotary machine, I'd have been setting it to speed 4 and then figuring out the correct pad and polish combo to go with that. And often that can mean I'm doing 3 or 4 attempts at different combinations on the roof or the bonnet, 'cause that's typically the test area that I'm using. Wasting a lot of time, really. You're taking pads off, putting pads on, and I hate doing that. You know, getting them all centered, just an absolute pain. So if you go for something like this, what you can do is you can then use something like the UDOS 5-in-1 over here. We'll do another video on that in the future. And you can control the cutting level by the speed. So rather than ramping it straight up to speed 4, I very rarely go above speed 3 on this now. A lot of the cars that I've been using, and recently the Audi A6, is I just did this, or that car, with this pad. The second pad is the black foam pad for finishing. You can use this red one over here that I touched on. That's more of a waxing pad, but I just use the black HDO with CCS technology for finishing. So I know what's going through a lot of your minds is this is a very aggressive pad and it's going to leave holograms and all of that stuff behind. Yes, it does. However, what it does mean is that Audi A6 I had, it took me 2 days. 2 days to fully polish that car. And the reason for that is I can quickly mow down all the swirl marks, easy. Like without even thinking about it, I can just mow down all the swirl marks with this without removing too much paint either. I'm talking like a micron. And then you can also, whilst you've got this pad, it's already on your machine, you've got a little bit more polish, and then you can get out those deeper scratches at the same time. You've not got to faff about having a second machine on the go, or switching pads out, or switching polishing compounds out. Just ramp the speed up a tad, and there we go. Also, it's worth noting as well, with the 5-in-1, you can change the orbit stroke, because you've got like 8mm, 12, 15, I think. Yeah, I'll put that below. But you can change the orbit size as well, which will, again, alter the aggressiveness of all of these pads. Not just the microfiber, but all of them. So, yes, for me then, for the last couple of years, I've pretty much been sticking with that for the single stage polish. And then I'm using this blue microfiber for what would have ordinarily or traditionally in the past been like a 3-stage detail. I'm using it as a 2-stage. So I am mowing everything down with that, and then I'm coming back in either on the UDOS or a second separate DA with the finishing pad. And that gets rid of any buffer trails and holograms that this leaves, you remove with this and a nice finishing compound. So yeah, there we have it. Of all of these pads, my favorite 3, my go-to 3, should I say, because there are reasons to use the other, are these. So if you was to just buy a couple of pads from Lake Country and you're unsure and you're just starting to polish, first of all, give this one a try, the orange foam. That is going to be great for a single stager, for a beginner, someone who just polishes the car maybe once a year. That will do you absolutely fantastic. If you're wanting to get a little bit more gloss and shine out the car, you want to get rid of more defects, and you may be just taking this up as a business, or you're a very keen enthusiast, you're doing all your neighbours, then really consider switching over to a microfiber. It can be a bit daunting. If you are unsure, as always, test on a scrap panel. If you can get hold of a scrap bonnet or a wing or something like that from your local scrapyard, test this out first, get a feel for it, and the added bonus is the only thing you're really going to be changing is the speed and possibly your polishing compounds if you want to try new things. As I say, your machine is always going to be a constant. You're not changing your machine on every job. And if you can keep the pads the same or almost the same every single time, you're going to know the pads as well. So really the only variable is going to be the polish and the speed that you're working at. So yeah, there we have it. Nice quick answer, I hope. So if you enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comments below. Make sure you smash that like button. And if you're not subscribed to this channel already, please go ahead and click this icon just here as well. It really does help us out, and we'll put a couple of videos down below that we think you guys will enjoy. So hope you've enjoyed this one, hope you've learned something new, and we'll see you in the next video.